I'm Father Joe Roesch of the Marian Fathers of the Immaculate Conception. Thank you for joining us as we continue with our year-long journey, reading the diary of St. Maria Faustina Kowalska from beginning to end. Today we take up from where we left off, beginning with diary entry number 743. 2 general resolutions. First, to strive after inner silence and to observe the rule of silence strictly. Second, faithfulness to interior inspirations, to bring them into my life and actions according to the advice of my spiritual director. In this present illness, I desire to glorify the will of God. I will try, as far as I am able, to take part in all the community exercises. I will give the Lord God fervent thanks for every sorrow and suffering. I often feel that, apart from Jesus, I get no help from anyone, although sometimes I am very much in need of clarifications concerning the demands of the Lord. This evening, I suddenly received light from God regarding a certain matter. For 12 years, I have been reflecting on a certain matter and could not understand it. Today, Jesus gave me to know how much that had pleased him. The Feast of Christ the King, October 25th, 1936. During Holy Mass, I was so enveloped in the great interior fire of God's love and the desire to save souls that I do not know how to express it. I feel I am all aflame. I shall fight all evil with the weapon of mercy. I am being burned up by the desire to save souls. I traverse the world's length and breadth and venture as far as its ultimate limits and its wildest lands to save souls. I do this through prayer and sacrifice. I want every soul to glorify the mercy of God, for each one experiences the effects of that mercy on himself. The saints in heaven worship the mercy of the Lord. I want to worship it even now, here on earth, and to spread devotion to it in the way that God demands of me. I have understood that at certain and most difficult moments I shall be alone, deserted by everyone, and that I must face all the storms and fight with all the strength of my soul, even with those from whom I expected to get help. But I am not alone, because Jesus is with me, and with him I fear nothing. I am well aware of everything, and I know what God is demanding of me. Suffering, contempt, ridicule, persecution, and humiliation will be my constant lot. I know no other way. For sincere love, in gratitude, this is my path, marked out by the footprints of Jesus. My Jesus, my strength and my only hope, in you alone is all my hope. My trust will not be frustrated. The Day of Renewal of Vows, Friday, October 30th, 1936. God's presence pervades my soul, not only in a spiritual way, but I feel it in a physical way also. November 2nd, 1936. In the evening, after Vespers, I went to the cemetery in the Sisters' Park. I had been praying for a while when I saw one of our sisters who said to me, "We are in the chapel." I understood that I was to go to the chapel and there pray and gain the indulgences. The next day, during Holy Mass, I saw 3 white doves soaring from the altar toward heaven. I understood that not only the 3 souls that I saw had gone to heaven, but also many others who had died beyond the confines of our institute. Oh, how good and merciful is the Lord. Here, St. Faustina makes 2 resolutions as a result of her 8-day retreat: to maintain inner silence and to observe the rule of silence, which was probably to silent after 9 or 10 o'clock each evening, and then also on retreat days, and also to remain faithful to her inner inspirations in union with her spiritual director. It could not have been easy to think that Jesus was calling her to leave her religious congregation and to found a new one, but she kept an open heart and mind. She was also sick throughout the retreat with tuberculosis of the lungs, and she seeks to participate whenever she can. She writes of her frustration at not receiving help from the other members of her community and from all who should be helping her to discern God's will. She writes of finally receiving an illumination from God after having struggled with a particular problem for 12 years. God blesses her for her persistence and for her struggles. On the feast of Christ the King, Jesus sets her heart on fire with a tremendous zeal for souls. And she writes of praying for some of the deceased sisters on All Souls' Day, and then she is rewarded with the knowledge that they went to heaven the day after, those sisters and some others beyond the convent. How important it is that we continue to pray and to offer sacrifices for our deceased loved ones.